the G5 jet. I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
Welcome back, eSIM Studios YouTube channel live stream for today, the 29th of April 2026. Gonna be a quick one today, but very important live stream, so we're gonna get right to it. First, let me check my audio. I don't want to do the or half of the live with me muted or sounding low, so hang on one second. Let's see. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so let me get everything. I already got my, we're going to share screens. We're going to share information. I just want to make sure everything's loaded up here. What's going on? What's going on, Carlos? Appreciate you joining me. I know you're a big Pixel fan. I am too. And I wore this shirt specifically for today. I'm going to try not to curse because, you know, it does affect my ad revenue. Every now and then, curse word. I'm not going to drop the F-bomb, hardly ever. But I may say S-H-I-T, and it may slip out a few times this episode. So buckle your seatbelts. I'm going to do my best. But before we get rolling, yeah, it's a big deal today. So let's see. Do I have everything set up? What's going on, man? Appreciate you joining us today. And this is going to be a live stream. It's only going to be about 30 minutes. So I got something to do here in about 30 minutes. So it's a hard out, meaning no matter where I'm at 1:30 Central Standard Time, I got to get out. Let's see here. When is the new update for the S25 Ultra coming? So I'm assuming you're talking about the April fix. The April update was pushed out to the S26, S25, and S24 series. And unfortunately for the S25 and S24 series, there was a battery drain bug. I made a short about it. I'm sure that's what you're referring to. The S26 series received, I yesterday just got the second update for April. Now, I couldn't tell. My battery life on my S26 Ultra has been really good. Excuse me. But I did receive the second update. So good news is if you have an S24, if you have an S25, hang in there. It literally will come any day now. If I'm you, if I had an S24 and S25 series, I'd be checking twice a day. Once when you get up in the morning and once when you get off work or in the afternoon, check for an update. I reached out to my Samsung contact. They said they're actively working on it. They did not give me a time frame, but they said it will be soon. They just can't be like, oh, it'll be on the 30th at 2 p.m. See what I'm saying? They did tell me it's actively being worked on, and I think I got a hold of them. Was it over the weekend? So maybe on the 27th or 26th, and then yesterday on the 28th, I got my second update. So it verifies what my contact told me at Samsung is true, that they're working on it. So I know it's a pain in the ass. Hang tight. I can promise you they're literally working on it right now. They may be uploading it to the update servers as we speak. I have no idea, but it's a pain in the ass. Hang in there. Help is on the way. Just, I know it sucks, but hang in there. It'll come soon enough. Let's see here. I just want to know if the overheating will finally be fixed when my Pixel 10 Pro XL was doing so good at first, but now it just overheats when gaming, wireless charging, or in general sometimes. So this is and I'm going to answer a couple of these questions and tell everybody good afternoon before we get to the Pixel roast. Yeah, so this is an update I did not speak about yet, and thank you for bringing it up. Look, it appears the April update for Pixel and Samsung screwed the phones up. So good news is Samsung is actively working on their update and actually starting to push the fix update, the second April update, emergency update already. And again, S26 got my second update, my fix update, even though mine wasn't really affected. S25, S24 should be here any day soon, any day now. Pixel devices are getting hit with the same issue. So I reached out to a couple of Google contacts that actually work, that are employed by Google, to see what they can pass on a message to you, the viewer, through me. They haven't gotten back to me. And they may not after this live stream, ever. But look, it's probably, a fix is probably on the way. We just don't know when. I can guarantee, look, if we know, because they use the phones too, right? I mean, and you know what kind of bugs me is that if you see some behind the scenes footage on YouTube about working at Google, it's like most everybody has a freaking MacBook. I'm like, really? Really? You weren't using an Apple product and you work at Google? That should be against their policy standards. No Apple products, whatever. I can guarantee you, without talking to them, they use these devices. I can guarantee you they've noticed. Look, they're online too. They're online too. I know I have Google employees that are subscribed to this YouTube channel. So I don't know if they're watching right now or if they'll watch in the future, but with this Pixel roast, or I'm essentially going to call them out today on this live stream. It's a point of this live stream if you can't tell from the thumbnail, but this is a message. I'm just going to put it out there. I'm going to at Google in this video. When this is over, I'm going to send it to them and a link to this and everything to let them know we're not happy with the current product and apparently the future product as well. And something needs to be done. Now, with that being said, I'm sure they already know. If we know something's going on, bad battery life, bad update, there's a bunch of bugs, I can almost guarantee you they're very aware of it, and it would be foolish of us to think that they're not doing anything about it. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're users as well. They read the forums, they're on Reddit, they see the online talk and chatter and chat rooms. They see your message right here. That's why I'm having it on display for so long. They know something's going on. And look, without any confirmation, I can almost guarantee you they're working on it. If Samsung's working on a fix for this, I can guarantee you they are. Now, Google has been good about pushing emergency updates. So have Samsung. I can think of numerous times where an emergency update has been pushed. In fact, there's a couple of times where there's been 3 updates per month. One original monthly update, and then emergency, and then emergency. Not common, but it has happened. Typically, they'll push the monthly update, and then if something's jacked up in there, then they'll push an emergency update. I know a number of occasions where they'll push an emergency update. So I can almost guarantee you that they're on it, right? Hang in there. I know it sucks. Trust me. On my S25 Ultra, probably the worst experience I've had with a Samsung device. But I was on beta, so it's kind of like, well, you know, that's why it's a beta. But if you're unstable, and I'm sure you are, and you have this issue, it's not good, and they'll fix it. Hello, battery just sucks. Yep. You pray and hope the April 2026 update didn't mess up the OnePlus. Yeah, it's very specific. There's a base code in these updates. Google will issue a base code that they can implement, and it's kernel based, meaning the basic update can be pushed to each and every manufacturer. They issue it to the manufacturer gets that updated code, and then they have to implement their magic in that code to make it compatible with their skin, so it doesn't jack up themes, backgrounds, colors, icons. So once they get the code, once they get the update fixed, saying, like, let's just say Samsung, then they'll modify the code to transition smoothly into one UI, and then they'll push it to users. I haven't heard anything on the OnePlus. Mine's been acting normal. So fingers crossed it doesn't mess with them. It could be something specific to Google and Samsung. I just don't know. I haven't seen the code. I'm not a programmer. I've dabbled in coding. I do have my own app, but different developing an app than developing system apps in kernel code and stuff like that. So, you know. All right, so let's get in it. What time is it? I got about 20 minutes. So that should be good enough time to get this off my chest. So speaking of on my chest, so as you can tell, and I'm putting this out there because I am #Team Pixel. I've literally owned every Pixel ever made, even Nexus. And I mean every, not just, oh, I've owned the Pixel 3. No, I've owned the Pixel 3 XL and the Pixel 3. I've owned the Pixel 9 Pro XL and the 9 Pro. I have a Pixel 10 Pro XL in the house. I have a Pixel 10 Pro in the house. Even the A series. I've owned all of them, even dating back through the Nexus, even dating back to the very first Google phone, the G1 from T-Mobile. Do y'all remember that? Where it's shaped like a banana? Yeah, so I have a lot of skin in the game with Google. I've invested thousands of dollars in Pixel phones. So if anyone is going to complain about where the Pixel brand is headed, it's me, right? And it's you too, because when I started this channel, let me turn my notifications off, Lord of mercy. When I started this channel, let me turn this music down because I want to be heard loud and clear, and I want you, the user, to be heard loud and clear too. Look, this channel, this eSIM Studios YouTube channel, is just as much about you as it is about me. This is our channel. It's not just mine. That's why I like to communicate with y'all. I'm one of y'all. I'm not a big YouTuber that has to hire somebody to all of the big ones do it. If you say, oh wow, the only big time YouTuber that actually talks and communicates with fans that I know of is Flossie Carter. And he's the one, when I was starting my channel, I was like, yo, what can I do? I'm kind of getting off course. What can I do to help grow the channel, build a community? He says, reply to your comments. Don't hire anybody like all these other YouTube channels. Do it all yourself. And that was great advice, because I like communicating with y'all. I'm a people person, right? But getting back to the Pixel, that's why it frustrates you as much as it frustrates me. Now, what am I talking about? Why did I get on here and just start roasting Google? Well, we got news late last night. I just laughed last night. No, I got the news about 11 p.m. last night. And I said, well, I know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow on the YouTube channel. And I'm sure most of y'all have seen the news. So there's a new report that came out with some Pixel 11 CPU and GPU specifications. Now, we figured before last night, we knew they were going to run the new Tensor G6. That's Google's. Remember, they separated away from Samsung Exynos-based CPUs with the G5. The G5 is their true first Google CPU. G6 will be their second generation. Well, so we knew it was going to be customized by them, and every year they've slowly improved on the CPU side. But that's not really my gripe. My gripe is the GPU. Now, before last night, we knew that it was going to be an Imagination Technologies GPU. Well, how did we kind of narrow it down to that? Well, they're not going to use the Qualcomm GPU, right? Because they left Qualcomm before they started Tensor. So Qualcomm's going to be like, no, you can't use our GPU unless you use our CPU. It's a combo thing. You can't just use the GPU, right? That makes sense. And technically, they could use a Mali GPU, which is owned by ARM, which is the ARM Cortex, which is they own the design for these CPUs. And actually, I thought if they were going to use any other GPU, it probably could have been Mali. Now, Mali GPUs are used in association with the ARM CPUs. Now, to give you an example, the MediaTek Dimensity, let's just say their flagship 9500, that's an ARM Cortex-based CPU with a Mali GPU. Samsung, with their Exynos CPUs, they use Mali GPU. So there was a little sliver of hope that they would use Mali GPUs, and I believe that's the same GPU that they used in the early days of Tensor with the Exynos-based Tensor chips. I believe they used the Mali GPU. Look, I don't have any behind-the-scenes information. I don't know how the relationship, I don't know why they did not continue working with the Mali GPU. Maybe it did not fit into their architecture. Look, again, I'm not I'm on the same side as y'all. I'm just getting the information as I get it. Sure, I have a couple of people I can kind of talk to on the back end, but they're not going to give me that information, right? Well, why didn't y'all choose Mali? Why are y'all still going with Imagination Technologies after the Pixel 10 GPU was so trash? They're not going to tell me, it could have been negotiation. Oh, they wanted too much for their GPUs, or, oh, it won't work with the architecture that Google's using now with these ARMs, Cortex. I don't know. The fact is, they're going with, look, options are slim at this point. There's really not many ways they can go. So we kind of figured rolling into the Pixel 11, they were going to work with Imagination Technologies again with the Immortals GPU. I was just hoping when we did get information in regards to this new GPU, I was hoping it would just be the latest and greatest. Their flagship GPU had to offer. They were going to give it to Google. Well, news came out last night. That's not the case. In fact, quite the opposite. The GPU that Imagination Technologies, the GPU that Pixel 11 is going to use is the Imagination Technologies CTX branded GPU. And if you're thinking, well, okay, so what's so bad about that? Well, it's 5 years old. That's the problem. Yeah. So, new leaks for the Google Pixel 11 Tensor G6. I'm going to go through the CPU and the GPU, a little rundown, and we'll get into specifics. And then we're going to get into who we need to call out that work at Team Pixel, because, again, I don't know the background story, but a 5-year-old GPU, really. So, new leaks for the Google Tensor G6 expected in the Pixel 11 suggest a potential shift to ARM's C1 Ultra and C1 Pro cores for the CPU, similar to Samsung's Exynos 2600. So, a little bit of good news and bad news that we got last night. Good news, the CPU looks rather respectable. I'm not going to say it's going to be Snapdragon 8 Elite style, right? None of us expect that, but at least the CPU are going to be using the latest and greatest cores and technology from ARM, right? So it should have decent single core scores. That's respectable, right? But that's not our gripe. My gripe has never been with the CPU. It has always been with the GPU. Y'all know that. However, the GPU component will utilize the Power VR CXT, which is similar to the one found in the Tensor G5. Again, it's 5 years old, so the one that they used in the current Pixel 10 is 5 years old, raising concerns about the lack of significant graphic performance improvements. This choice for the GPU might be driven by Google's priority to minimize the die size, right? Potentially leading to a lateral move in graphics capabilities to potentially preserve profit margins rather than a substantial performance upgrade. While the CPU upgrade sounds promising, the potential stagnation in GPU performance is a point of concern for Pixel enthusiasts seeking uncompromised advancements. Now let's get into, here is the press release for the GPU that they've used. Now, this press release is 5 years old. I'm not joking you. Check this out. So this is the press release on their website, imaginationtech.com. Imagination launches the most advanced ray tracing GPU. When you read this, I'm going to go through the cliff notes of this, and I'm going to link everything down below after. I was going to rush to start this live. Y'all know I normally don't stream at this time, but come back when I'm done. Give me a couple minutes, and if you want to... I also have a Notebook LM link. Oh, that's what I need to bring up. Hang on. Let me run through these cliff notes. My mind's all over the place. Let me run through these cliff notes of this press release. That's 5 years old. It sounds cool. When you read it, you're like, damn. I was like, that sounds like a decent GPU. And then I was like, hold up. And I went to go look at the date, and I'm like, November 2021. You know how long 5 years in the tech world, I'm not shitting you, is like 20 years in human life world. Like, advancement is so much greater in the tech world than in regular life. So you can see why I'm a little hot today. So here's the cliff notes of this, and I'll link everything down below. Imagination Technologies unveiled the CXT, its flagship GPU, featuring the Power VR photon ray tracing architecture, which brings desktop quality visuals to mobile and embedded applications. The photon architecture represents a significant advancement in GPU technology, enabling hardware-accelerated ray tracing for enhanced realism in games, other graphical use cases previously limited to PCs and consoles. Remember, this is 5 years old. This new architecture is positioned at level 4 of Imagination's ray tracing level systems, making it the most advanced and available, offering superior performance and efficiency for mobile devices. Here's the model number. The Imagination Technologies CXT-48-1536RT3 core includes 3 ray tracing clusters capable of delivering photorealistic ray tracing, shadows, reflections, global illumination, and ambient occlusion at high frame rates with a mobile power budget. Okay. Let's see. Beyond ray tracing, the IMG CXT also boasts a 50% increase in compute texturing, geometry, blah, 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 blah. Photon architecture is scalable and can be adapted for cloud, data center, and PC markets, offering substantial blah, blah, blah. Okay, you get the point. It's just a bunch of fluff, a bunch of stats, whatever. Remember, this is 5 years old. So as you can see here, it was released on November 4th, 2021. Let me pull up what time is it? Let me pull up my Notebook LM, and I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to let you know who we need to call out, because after this is over, I'm going to at all the people in the Pixel department for Google, because in my opinion, this is unacceptable. Let's see here. Where is my Notebook LM? Here we go. All right, so look what Notebook LM chose to put for this. Really? A turtle. Oh, by the way, did y'all see I put a pixel in my thumbnail and they blocked the pixel in my thumbnail. I had to go upload a Pixel 10 in my thumbnail. Check this out. They put a turtle up here for Pixel 11. I didn't put it there. They did. So check this out. If y'all have never checked out Notebook LM, if you want to really take a deep dive into this, and I'll probably go live later today. I'm just in a rush. I have an appointment here in 10 minutes. Go down below, check out the link. I'm going to post it after we go live of Notebook LM. I have podcasts, I have videos, I have information, infographics, data tables, and check out this mind map that I made of the Pixel 11 series. So here we go. Pixel 11 Tensor G6. So the CPU performance that we get with this Pixel 11, here's the architecture. ARM C1 core, ARM C1 Pro, ARM C1 Pro, 7 core layout. Not an octa-core, it's a 7 core, but a lot of the new flagship CPUs are bumping down to 7 cores. It's better on efficiency. Snappier everyday use. Again, I have no issues with the CPU. Yes, the Pixel 11 will be snappy. It'll be fluid. You won't have, anybody could use it for any regular usage. But when you want to do graphic intensive tasks, when you want to do multitasking, when you want to edit videos, even just basic videos for TikTok, for YouTube, for Instagram, if you want to use CapCut, if you want to use Instagram edits, the Pixel is so trash. It just doesn't cut it. It just does not cut it. And this is exactly what I was fearing, is that they're going to go with the same old bullshit that they've been doing for the last how many years? When is enough going to be enough? I told y'all maybe 2 weeks ago when the Pixel Glow thing leaked, I said, man, is it a gimmick? I don't know, but it looks cool. I said they have a chance, this is very rare in the smartphone world, to almost have a damn near perfect phone, right? And it seems like they're messing it all up with a repeat of this underpowered GPU. So the CPU is not a big deal, right? Now, the GPU is where it's going to be trash. Here's the hardware, legacy 2021 hardware. Don't get caught up in the ray tracing stuff. That's 5-year-old ray tracing. So here's the concerns. Subpar gaming performance, not to mention editing videos. Potential side grade from the G5, meaning there is no upgrade. Lacks Vulkan 1.4 support. Did y'all hear me? Lacks Vulkan 1.4 support. What kind of bullshit is that? Do you remember when the Pixel 10 came out with this new, the current one that came out with this new Tensor G5? You remember the first few weeks they wouldn't let you download these benchmark apps? Remember that? They wouldn't let you download Geekbench or 3D Mark or anything like that. Because the GPU wasn't ready. Because they didn't have enough drivers. You remember how long it took for them to update the drivers? Months just to get up to current drivers. This current GPU does not support Vulkan 1.4. That means when you run a test on the benchmark, it's going to fail. I can't tell you how many times the Pixel 10 failed on a benchmark test. It's not going to run games good, right? And I guarantee you, you're going to run into old driver optimization issues. When is enough enough? Like, I'm so tired of this, and I get pissed off because I'm such a Pixel fan. I feel like I and you are getting screwed. This is exactly the thing that's going to turn people to Samsung and, unfortunately, to iPhone. Now, if you live in the United States, you're really screwed because come April 30th, they're going to ban all Chinese phones. So out goes OnePlus. You can't buy Oppo. I mean, you can, but you can't, right? So we're stuck. If look, I'm seriously considering not buying a Pixel this year. Sorry. So what options does that leave me with? Samsung. I'm certainly not going to be using Apple. So I'm just stuck with Samsung. What kind of bullshit is that? Now, I like Samsung, right? I'm not shitting on Samsung. I love you, Samsung. I actually do. Daily driver right here. But where are my options? Like, you blink a couple times and it seems like it's dwindling by the day. And with this bullshit Google's pulling, I'm not going to buy a Pixel. The only way to force them to make a change is to not buy their product. And it sucks, but it looks like Samsung is it. And that's why I'm so pissed off today. Jesus, man. The more I think about it, the more it pisses me off. Before we get out, I'm going to go live later. Unless you want to... Actually, you know what? I do have a... over the phone... I have a conference call that should only take a few minutes. I have a lot more to talk about. I have a call in 3 minutes. I may just pause the stream and not pause it. I'm going to keep it live, do my little conference call for about 3 minutes, and then get back on because I got a lot more to go. I'm just getting started. What is this? Actually, while I'm on the conference call, I'm going to add these links down below for everybody. Yo. Oh my God. I have to be an insider. Yo, I had it on my phone. Reading mode. Ha ha ha. Yo, just to let y'all know, if there's a paywall like Business Insider that won't let you scroll down, here's a little trick. You can do it on your phone or the desktop. Go to your settings and go to reading mode, and then it'll just bypass most of the time bypass it'll bypass the paywall. All right, so I'm gonna have to jump off for a few minutes here in a minute, but well, my phone calls. I'm gonna have to get off, but I wanted to get into this. I'm gonna stay on, but what a mess this is. So, where are the people I need to call out? Here we go. Let me read some of your comments. What's going on, Daniel? Yeah, that's the problem. That's the problem, is that, like Daniel was saying, it's a shame. It's just very disappointing. Like when you really start to think about it. And again, does this affect like my whole family has yeah, my whole family has Pixels, right? Except my sister, she has an iPhone. But again, I think y'all have said this numerous times, because it's just the easy, simple thing to get. When my grandparents need a new phone, I buy them a Pixel A series, whatever the latest A series is, and I set them up on it. It's easy, it's simple. My dad, same thing, A series. They don't need the latest and greatest. They don't care about specs. They just want a good working phone. They get security updates, so give them a Pixel. But is that what Pixel is turning into? At this point, it looks like Pixel is just turning into the next Jitterbug. You know, that phone for old people that it's just basic. Oh, it has those big numbers where you can, it's easy to see. It's the next senior citizen phone. That's basically what it's going to be. How does Google expect people like you and I, and I'm sure we have some people in their 20s watching, some people in their 30s. I'm unfortunately just, 40s, unfortunately, just turned there, but the stuff that we do on our phones is not what my parents and grandparents do. All they do is literally call, text, take a few pictures. That's it. Well, that's basically what Google's telling us they want their users to do. Because now, can you play? I know I sound like a broken record, but I have to explain myself. Yes, you can play some games, right? Of course, But can you play the latest and greatest? Not, I guess that's up for debate. Certainly not the most graphic intensive games. Certainly not as well as the S26 Ultra. Certainly not as well as the Oppo Find X9 Pro, X9 Ultra, right? What am I missing here? Like, there has to be and again, I'm not inside, but I'm really, really at this point wondering what are they thinking? Now, I think, and I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm waiting on this phone call. I think, so if you're within the inside, right? If you're on the inside, you're on Team Pixel, and you're a decision maker, meaning, remember, when you put these phones together, you got to find parts suppliers. The developers have to be able to implement these parts, and I don't know why the decision was made to go with a 5-year-old GPU. Was it because they wanted to save a few dollars? That's probably the biggest determining factor when it comes to making phones. Now, how much did that have to play? I don't know. Now, Google has all these statistics. They have all the analytics of their users and what their users do on their phones. Maybe they said, well, you know what? A large majority of our users play low frame rate games, play basic games, right? And they thought they might be able to get away with using, not that many people look at the GPU. A lot of the online stuff is, well, what CPU does it have? What CPU does it have? But very little people understand that what the CPU and the GPU do respectively. And it makes me wonder if Google thought that they can just get away with throwing in a 5-year-old GPU, and maybe it said, well, we can update it here and there, and as long as we make a small incremental performance increase, what do we care? What do they care? I'm trying to reason. I'm trying to get inside their mind and think of what they might be thinking about. I have my conference call. Give me 2 minutes. I'll be off of the phone in a second. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Let me drink some water. Give me a sec. All right, sorry about that. I had a conference call, or business call real quick. So, I know it's live all over the place. What I'm going to do, so here's my plan for this. Do you see those names out here? So these are all the executives. Y'all can hear me? These are all the executives that work within the Pixel department. So these are all the people that work at Team Pixel. You have the president, the vice president, general manager, Chrome browser. Really, actually, let's see, Android ecosystem, health and home is not gonna pertain to this. Chrome browser, photos. So actually, not all of these, but let's see, product management. He's gonna be a big one. Vice president of engineering. That's probably number one or number two. That. So what I'm gonna do is when this is over, I'm gonna chop this up, make it look nice and neat, and then I'm going to Google the video. So if you are displeased like I am, please let your voice be heard in the comments, because I'm going to include the comments as well in the video. So if you want your voice to be heard, please let me know what's on your mind right now in regards to this. I'm certainly not happy. I think this is a big misstep. This is a huge miss on shooting for the very best smartphone. Now, let's get down to the final product. Let's get down to the Pixel 11. Now, let's say Pixel 11 Pro XL. They're charging. What does the Pro XL go for? And a 256. Is it $1,100? It's $1,200, I believe. So when you get up and over the $1,000 price point, that's stiff competition. Stiff. You're up against the iPhone 17 Pro Max, which is a beast. You're up against the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra. Say what you want, it still has some, at least performance-wise, very, very high performer. And then, if you potentially get a 512 gig, you're going up there 1400. That's where you get towards the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. Now, I know it's not available for the United States, but remember, pixels are sold worldwide. So it is going up against the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. How are you going to compare price-wise? How are you going to price match an Oppo Find X9 Ultra with a Pixel 11 Pro XL? It's laughable at this point. It's a complete joke at this point. Who's gonna pick the Pixel? Now, I know some will, but let's be honest, you're selling yourself short if you buy the Pixel 11 Pro XL over the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. The Oppo Find X9 Ultra has got better cameras. It's got a better freaking everything. Battery, CPU, GPU, UFS storage. Shit, the only thing, the Pixel that I can think of off the top of my head that could beat a Oppo Find X9 Ultra spec-wise is maybe the display. That's one thing it's got going for it. Now, it's going to have the brand new Samsung M16 OLED panel. It'll look nice, but it's not certainly, it's nice to have, but nobody's just going to take the Pixel. Oh, it's got the Samsung M16 OLED. I got to get that. Come on. So it's a joke that they're asking $1,300 for their flagship phone, and it just doesn't stack up to the competition. You know what it would be like? It would be like, how I like to compare phones to cars. It would be like going to a car show or a phone show. Phone show. You got all the flagship phones there. You got the OnePlus 15. You got the Oppo Find X9 Ultra. You got the Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra. You got the Apple iPhone 17 Pro Max, right? And let's say you go to a car show. You got the Mercedes-Benz, what is it? It's Mercedes-Benz, what is it? The CLS or the AMG CL65 AMG. You have the Ferrari 488. You got the C8 Corvette. You got the BMW M5. Now, going back to the phone collection, all those flagship phones that I just mentioned, and then you bring the Pixel 11 Pro XL to the group. Everybody's going to look at the Pixel 11 Pro XL and be like, really? Really? And then let's go back to the car show. With all those nice cars that I just mentioned, and you pull up, I'm not shitting on, I'm just making a comparison. I've had this car, so I'm not shitting on this car. And then you pull up in a Honda Accord, and the Ferrari, the BMW, the Mercedes, the Corvette. We're all looking at the Honda Accord like, really? And it's priced the same. You're going to pay $100,000 for a freaking Honda Accord? That's what you're doing with this Pixel. You're paying $100,000 for a freaking Honda Accord. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Yeah, the Honda Accord drives nice, right? It's got leather interior. It's got all the, bells and whistles for the most part. Inside the basics, bells and whistles inside the car. Leather, you got infotainment center. You got nice aluminum alloy 17-inch wheels. It kind of looks cool on the outside. But when you compare it to a Ferrari, an M5 BMW, the brand new Corvette, the hardtop convertible, it's like, doesn't really add up. And then you want to look at the specs. You got a little inline six in the Honda. I don't know what they have now, V6. And in these cars, these flagship cars, you got turbocharged V8s, you got V10s, you got just amazing engineering power, right, at your hands. Well, it's the same thing with these phones. It's like, you see what I'm saying? Kind of the same thing, except the Honda Accord is $100,000. Who's going to buy a $100,000 Honda Accord? Nobody. Sorry. And again, I'm not shitting on Honda Accord. Again, I've owned a Honda Accord, so I'm just making this a comparison. Same thing you're getting with this Pixel. You're paying $100,000 for a Honda Accord. You're paying $1,200 for a subpar product when compared to the competition. That's the key. When compared to the competition. Again, it honestly doesn't make sense the more that I think about it. And I think this is the very first year I'm not going to buy a Pixel. Pains me to say so. Damn it. Testing. What the hell is going on? Now, I got my volume. I'll have to check on it. Let me see here. I don't know what's going on with the audio. Nothing stacks up against Oppo and Vivo. And you know what? Taking it back to cars, just like the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra, the Xiaomi electric vehicle. Just Google it. Google it. If you're not driving, if you're watching me at home, at the office, on your lunch break, you can Google while you watch my YouTube channel. Swipe to home on your Google search bar. Type in Xiaomi SU7 Ultra. Just like the Vivo and the Oppo phone, the Chinese-made phones that blow away everything we have here, go check out that EV that Xiaomi makes. It's so cool. But it's so badass. It blows away anything we have here. Teslas, and guess what? They make them for half. They sell them for half the price, essentially. Half the price. It broke the record at Nuremberg. In Germany, the famous racetrack, it broke the record. Like, it's insane. I was looking it up, and it seems like to be a promising GPU. I think it's better for AI, but it also has features like super resolution upscaling as far as the CXTP. I'm hoping it's actually the DXTP series. Yeah. Right now, the Pixel 10 has D series, and I believe they're going to be going to the C. Now, maybe I am cutting them slack, but here's what we don't know. Getting back to why they chose this specific GPU. And again, I really don't have an issue with the CPU. It's the GPU. Now, I've got real world experience, and I think I've made videos about this. The last Pixel, I got the 10 Pro, but I don't use it. The last Pixel that I really loved was the 9 Pro XL. That was the last one that I really enjoyed using, and I actually used for damn near 10 months straight as my daily driver. But when I always used to shoot video, when I always used to shoot content, when I always used to edit videos, make thumbnails, whatever it is, I always used to shoot on the Pixel content and then transfer it to my Samsung, because it, for one thing, would take forever to render that video. But then while making the video, while chopping it up, editing it up, cutting out a minute here, 30 seconds here, the audio and the video would not sync together. And it was a continuous choppy experience. Right? Now, I don't play games, but it was a horrible experience editing videos and then rendering that video once done. Those sort of things fall on the GPU. CPU is fine. It was a very snappy phone, pretty quick, very fluid, just as fluid as any other flagship phone, which kind of falls on the CPU, but that wasn't my issue. Now, I know these are very specific tasks, but again, what I do on my phone and what you do on your phone could be similar, but chances are it's very opposite. But I think the average person, I think, probably won't have a problem with it, but it's the power users, it's the enthusiasts, and it's also just the fact knowing that performance-wise, maybe it's just me, you have a subpar product. Again, why would you buy? Maybe you're in love with Pixel. I get it. I'm a sucker for Pixels, like I said, but at some point, what do you want us to do? Is this just going to be a jitterbug phone now where you can't really game on it? You definitely can't edit videos, render videos. So you just want it for, it's just a quote unquote basic smartphone, right? You just want it to do all this AI stuff, which on the other hand, who uses all that AI stuff? Honestly, I'm asking you a question. Do you know anybody that uses more than 2 AI features a day? I don't. I use one. I really don't even use AI. I mean, it's cool, I guess, but who fits that in their daily workflow? So I think this whole AI thing is overhyped. And sure, the CPU helps out on some of this AI stuff, but getting back to the GPU and which model they're choosing, the only thing, so I was trying to not just criticize them for choosing this, but I'm taking it a step back or reversing the thought process is, so why did they choose this, right? Why? There had to be a reason. Why did they go with this over that? Now, I think we kind of at the beginning narrowed out or filtered out the other GPU manufacturers. Qualcomm's going to give them the cold shoulder because Google stiffed them in their contract with the CPU. So they can't use, and plus Qualcomm would want you to use their CPU if they're going to use their GPU. You see what I'm saying? And there's really not that many choices. Mali, again, they are using the Mali ARM brand, I think owns the Mali series GPU. So I guess they could have chosen Mali in the Dimensity MediaTek 9500. They use the Mali GPU. Really don't know why they didn't go with the Mali. You know, like the Mali T, whatever their model numbers are. Why didn't they choose that? Now, did it come down to price? Which ultimately 99% of decisions that are made comes down to money, especially not every decision, obviously personal choice or who you choose to marry. Well, I think that sometimes that does, but I'm talking about in business. Essentially every decision made is about money in some way, shape, or form. So saying money did not have a play in the decision to go with this GPU, it's probably foolish to think it didn't have anything to do with it. But let's take out the others that they could have chosen, and let's just focus on the Immortals GPU. Why did they choose to go with a 5-year-old GPU over the latest and greatest? Was it because with their older GPUs, Google can tweak it more, can put more customization? Maybe there's more tools in the shed, so to speak, when it comes to tweaking that GPU, where they can put their footprint on it. Or no, we want it to be tweaked to do more AI heavy intensive tasks instead of just raw gaming, raw power. That could have had something to do with it. There's a lot of unknowns here, and that I think get overlooked by, and I'll be the first one to admit, by me and other people, because we don't know. We're not in these meetings. We're not sitting there in the boardroom deciding, or sitting there with what's his name, Linus Upson, the vice president of engineering. He's going to have a say so. We're not in meetings with him, right? We don't know why they chose this over that. All I know is the final product, right? All that is just hogwash when it comes down to the final product that they put out. So I hope they knew what they're doing. I hope they know what they're doing, which I'm not going to write them off right now. Maybe saying I'm just not going to buy it. Maybe that's pushing it a little too far. Maybe I'm a little too in my emotions right now, which we have every right to be. As a Pixel lover and user and part of hashtag Team Pixel, I've been waiting for so long to have a product that I can be confident with, and can actually stack up to the competition. And it feels like we're just continuing the same path of suboptimal performance, right? It's just disappointing. Like, and again, maybe we shouldn't judge them too fast, but where this is headed is the same old, same old. I feel that way. I truly do. So with some of these people here, what I'm going to do is actually at them when this is over. I'm going to make this video look nice and clean, and then I'm going to upload it to YouTube, and then I'm going to reach out to each and every one of these people and send them a link and let them know we are not happy. And what I would love to do, because I know they've invited me to the Pixel 8 that was in San Francisco, but it was on my birthday. Anyways, in the Pixel, they didn't invite me to the Pixel 10. I don't know why. Pixel 9, they invited me, but it was within like the last, I think it was airfare was too expensive. Like the invites were sent out like 2 weeks before the event. And I looked at the airfare, I'm like, holy crap. Maybe I should take the dive, but whatever. But what I want to do is, not only am I going to reach out to them behind the scenes, each and every one of these people. Well, I'm not going to reach out to the vice president of Chrome browser. They're just going to send me to the delete folder. But I'm going to reach out to the people that have direct influence, that work inside Team Pixel, that work on the product. I'm going to send them a link of this or whatever video I choose to upload. But I'm also going to ask them, hey, can you please come on my channel? Now, you don't have to do it before the launch. I don't expect them to talk about this before the launch. But extend an olive branch or whatever you want to call it and say, hey, I've done that. I did that with OnePlus, offered them to come on the channel. Let's have a discussion. I'm not going to blast them. It'll be a very cordial interview. I just want to ask them what went into the decision making. I honestly want to know, to tell you the truth. Like, I'm honestly curious of why they chose this. Now, again, it kind of seems, if you want my honest opinion, it kind of seems like options are limited. But getting back to the GPU, I just don't know why they chose a 5-year-old GPU and not the newest, latest. I don't know. Apparently, the Pixel 11 was supposed to get the Imagination Tech EXT GPU, but it wasn't ready. So I'm guessing, well, that's in the Pixel 12 series. Yeah, I saw comments on the bottom of a Android Central article And I've noticed, or I read that same thing, that apparently they were wanting one model, couldn't get it for whatever reason, so they fell back on this model, and they're essentially going, now it's an upgraded 5-year-old GPU, but still, when you hear that, you're like, really? And here's the thing, that's just the headline. Here's the problem. When you get into the weeds of things, like what I want to know, and apparently what some of y'all want to know, is we want to know why. Why did they choose to do this? Like, I don't understand it. But, I'm kind of nerdy, and like this stuff interests me. But you got to think you're the average person. They don't care, right? But they are going to see the headline. The headline today, Google Pixel 11, same, GPU trash or whatever. You've seen the headlines. The average user is going to see that headline. Maybe they might see the sub headline and think, what? Oh, hell no. Well, looks like I'm going to have to go back to iPhone, or looks like I'm going to have to go to Samsung. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people aren't going to dig through the details, the fine print. They're just going to see the headline, and they're just immediately going to write off the Pixel 11 series. That's my biggest fear with this product. And I think Google, that's what I think they don't fully understand. I know a lot of people goes right over their heads, but you can't tell me a percentage of those people that are interested in tech. They might not be like enthusiasts like we are, that dig into the details and, oh, what about this, what about that, but they do read the headlines, right? It's in the top headlines of the tech news today. So people are going to see this and be like, I'm skipping. You can't tell me that's not going to affect sales. How much? I don't know, but a little bit, probably. Well, I'm still going to buy a Pixel since I don't edit videos or play games. You still got... That's true. Now, here's the problem with Motorola. The signature is not available in the US. Now, I say available. I mean, you can't go to Motorola's website and purchase the device. You can go to eBay and get it. You can go to an online retailer and get it. But here's the problem. What if you break the screen? What if you need warranty work done? It's a pain in the ass to go through to go through that. It's not the same as buying it from the Samsung's website on a Samsung US website, or getting it from T-Mobile or AT&T, where they offer insurance. I can get, if I bust my Samsung screen right now, I can have it fixed by, depending on what time, by the end of the day. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the thing. Yes, you do have Motorola, but you're limited to US sales. You're limited to just budget and mid-range phones. You don't really, the really cool devices are not available in the US. So on your first point, yeah, I get it. And I don't want to come across as it's just going to be trash, because everybody uses their phone differently. If you don't play games, if you don't edit videos, I think you'll love the device. So if I'm coming across as just writing this Pixel off, take it with a grain of salt, because again, like Carlos, if you don't game and you don't edit, it should be a great phone. Now, if you want to get past the editing and the gameplay, they are going to implement the 200 charging cycle limit. Here's my other big issue with Google. After 200 charging cycles, they just limit your charging. It takes 2 hours to charge your phone, and you can only charge it to 80% capacity. So it essentially renders it a full use phone for 6 months. And after 200 charges, that's it. So that's the other issue I have with them. I think it's still too early. I know I just said I'm probably not going to buy the phone. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I think it's just a little emotional today. It's the same bullshit. Different day. I really wanted Google to get over this hump. And it just, for me personally, it'll be a great phone if you don't game or edit, or you don't care about charging and charge it every night when you lay your head down. Hey, I'm sure it'll be a good phone. And in fact, if my family asked, hey, I need a new phone, what should I get? still going to tell them get a Pixel. I'm just frustrated because it limits my usage of the Pixel. See what I'm saying? It limits what I enjoy doing on the Pixel. That's why I'm frustrated, because essentially today or last night, and I wake up, see the news last night, I wake up today and realize, well, I guess I'm not getting the Pixel this year. And I'm kind of burned. I'm kind of scorned. I'm like a scorned lover here. You know, I'm just like, God, I don't know. But I get it. Yeah, you'll probably like the phone. A lot of people will. But I won't. I don't think. Man, it's sad. I think more people need to realize just how bad it is for tech lovers, especially phone lovers in the United States. It is dreadfully bad. I mean, let's think about it. I know I just briefly mentioned it, but you got Samsung, you got Apple, you got Google, you got Motorola. Now, am I missing any others? Apple, Google, Samsung, Motorola. Now, with 3 out of those 4, you can buy flagships. Motorola, you cannot buy their flagship. They don't sell flagships in the U.S. I think they're gonna bring their fold style signature to the U.S., but that's still in September, right? I'm talking about like after the 30th, after tomorrow's when the FCC does their votes on their Chinese ban, and I fully expect them to pass that. So let's say tomorrow or next week, if you want a nice phone, you only got 3 options. And for me, iPhone sorry, I don't mean to give you the middle finger. iPhone is not an option. So that leaves me with 2 options. And if Google, I don't think I'm going to be getting a Pixel this year. What am I going to use it for? That just leaves me with Samsung. Like, that is dreadful. Now, obviously, there's nothing, and Jesus, if they didn't make the Phone 3 look so bad, I'd probably grab one of those. Man, it's bad. Like, this is like the worst it's ever been. We just don't have any options. The Adreno 840 GPU is on another level. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Razer Fold. I think it is. The latest news that I saw is they plan on bringing it here. I just wish they would let the signature fly. Do you know how many signatures they would sell? Yo, what is Motorola doing? They need to take advantage of this time. If I was an employee at Motorola, I would be screaming. Well, probably wouldn't be screaming. Probably think I'm a freak. Probably get fired. But I would, in meetings every day or every Tuesday, I would be banging on the table gently. Yo, we gotta get the signature in this U.S. market officially. I'm telling you. I know a lot of you did not purchase the signature. It's a fantastic phone. And it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. They're still going for like $667. And it blows away any other $600 phone here. In fact, it's flagship level, honestly, for $600. Like, what are we doing? Motorola, get your shit together. I don't know. Look, and there may be some behind the scenes stuff that we're not privy to or aware of. Maybe the government is classifying them as a Chinese company since Lenovo owns them, right? But they do have a office in Chicago. Look, I'm sure the higher ups on the back end are trying to work this out, because that's one of the companies we're unaware of. Is the government going to classify them as Chinese or American? Because there is Motorola Mobility US, and they're in Chicago. So they can claim, hey, no, we're American. Our headquarters in Chicago. It's been there for like 80 years. So I don't know. They're missing out on a huge opportunity. If it was available for Motorola to get the signature in the United States, meaning on Motorola's website, US website, put the signature up for sale. They would sell a gazillion of those things. Put out a good marketing campaign, pay Steph Curry or whoever else, Patrick Mahomes, put them on commercials. Oh, the new flagship from Motorola. They would sell a gazillion of those. I promise you. There has to be something behind the scenes going on with that, because with the way the market is right now, people that don't want to go to iPhone, which is me and a lot of other people, maybe look, a lot of people don't even like using Samsung, right? It's for whatever reason. Everybody's different. And maybe you're not happy about this Google news. So what does that leave you with? Exactly. Motorola, come on now. You're missing out. It is. May 14th. Oh, sweet. Damn. $18.99? Holy shit. No, it's about the same price as the other ones. Now, this will have stylus support, which the Samsung Z Fold 7 and 8 are not going to have. So, it's a good phone. Interesting. Thank you. Really? Yo, what is going on? I'm at about 60% volume. What's going on? I'm at about 60% volume. I have no clue. Interesting. Oh boy. Yeah, so Samsung is supposed to you talking about the upcoming S27? Samsung is working on and is expected to release their version of silicon carbon batteries in the S27 series. So, yeah, it'll be I think from the figure I heard it's going to be just under 6,000 milliampere hours. The silicon carbon, or their version of it. You think the FCC, when they cast their vote on the Chinese lab ban, it's like 100% guaranteed that OnePlus will end the US market? Yes, 100%. In fact, with them in their business practices, their revenue, so it's a twofold. It's a 1-2 punch combo with OnePlus tomorrow. The ban, which I fully expect to be passed, because why wouldn't they, right? Everything we've seen from the government is it's right on par with everything we've seen in the past from this administration. So I fully expect them to pass this FCC thing, and that'll put up the guardrails for a lot of Chinese electronics manufacturers, specifically phone manufacturers. So OnePlus will get hit with that, and then they get hit with just less than ideal revenue, right? We've all seen story. They've closed down their U.S. market, the stores, headquarters. They're closing down their UK headquarters, and we've heard they're just going to operate in China and India. And fully looks like tomorrow will be the death blow. That, unfortunately, what a shame, because out goes OnePlus. You know, we've been here in the U.S. We've been taking them for granted, and I don't think we're really gonna miss OnePlus until they're gone. You know, it's like anything else that you take for granted. You don't really miss it. You don't really know what you're missing until it's gone. And I think at some point, when you're a tech enthusiast, it may not hit you tomorrow when the ban takes place. It may not hit you next month. It may hit you a year from now. It may hit you 2 years from now. But I guarantee you, at some point, when you want to upgrade your phone, or your wife's phone, or your daughter's phone, or your kid's phone, you're going to look and be like, damn, what? Unless they want a specific phone, like, I want that, you know, whatever. But if they're like, I think I need a new phone, you're like, okay, well, let's see what's out there. That's when it's going to hit you. when you're gonna be like, damn, not much else out here. And honestly, if you have a OnePlus 15, hold on to that thing for dear life, because I think, have you looked at the phone prices lately? I was looking yesterday at used phones to buy. They're holding their value, right? And for good reason. iPhones have not come down, and iPhone 17 Pro, Pro Max, they're still like $900. Like, they have not come down at all. And that's for reason. OnePlus, the OnePlus phones, 15s, still holding the price pretty good. And that's for a reason. So just be mindful next time you upgrade or you choose to get a new device. Think twice. Man, I'm telling you, it's going to be a collector's edition. If you have one, hold on to it. If you don't have one, get one. Get one. They're still going to update it. Damn, I just told y'all yesterday I wasn't going to tell you to buy any certain phone. Okay, get one if you want to, but think about it. How about that? It's a great phone, and they're still going to update it. They legally have to. Yeah. Google doesn't have the most powerful GPU. They need a flagship GPU. That's it. I don't care if it's Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 level or Gen 2. Dude, it's so bad. It's so bad. You want to see how bad it is? I have a graphic for you. It's so bad. The benchmarking scores, the performance, the Pixel 8 outperforms the Pixel 10. A 2-year-old phone. Imagine if Samsung came out with this S26 Ultra, and once users got it in their hands, it turned out the S24 Ultra was far more powerful. How do you think that would go? Yeah. So let me pull up. Hang on one second. I got it here. I want to show you something. Let me just transfer it to the computer. I want to show you something. Damn, I gotta update my shit. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this. Son of a bitch. That is the Pixel 11 Pro XL. That's the Google Kodiak. That's the internal name for the Google Pixel 11 Pro XL. No, those are early benchmark scores, but take a look at that. That's ridiculous. That's embarrassing. Now, those are early. And it was just testing, right? They're probably just threw the phone to get one. They didn't just throw it together. It's probably an early prototype. And they're probably, their first time. They're just seeing if everything works. But we still got the score. 845 single core, 2657 multi-core score. That's on the level of like an S20 FE. That's like 6 or 7 year old performance, CPU phone performance. Now you can see it was done at February 25th, 2026, which was just a couple of months ago. Android 16, Kodiak, that's the code name, internal name for the Pixel 11 Pro XL. You can see here, ARM, it's got the ARM CPU, one processor, 7 cores, so that would match up with the processor that we got word of yesterday. Identifier right there. Base frequency, it is fairly low. I think the last one, that their performance core, the P1 core, I think was clocked at, can go just over 4 gigahertz. So, I mean, it wasn't ramped up, you know, and that's not really going to well, it's definitely not going to reflect the final score, the production units, but it's pretty low score. Here you got, oh yeah, here we go. Their performance core is rated at 4.11 gigahertz, and then you got the other ones here. Interesting thing is, look at the RAM. Now, originally I saw the RAM and I was like, no, that can't be the Pro XL, because the Pro XL comes with 16 gigabytes of RAM. And then I looked up the Google Kodiak internal code name and I was like, no, that's what they're calling the 11 Pro XLs, Kodiak. So I'm like, why the hell does it have 12 gig? It says 11.2 gigs of RAM, which is technically a 12 gigabyte model. Whenever you benchmark them, the usable RAM is just a shade under what it's rated at, and this is no different. But the Pro and Pro XL always have 16 gigs of RAM. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they just threw it together a early test unit, and they're like, well, all we got's the 12 gig of RAM. Well, screw it, throw it in and test it. I don't know. Again, all we see is the final product. I don't know what the story is behind it, but that's the Pro XL Kodiak. It seems like every year Pixel benchmarks always start off looking bad. The CPU will be much better than this GPU that worries. The CPU is using newer, more powerful cores. GPU is old. Yeah, I agree. I'm testing the OnePlus 15 now for a couple of days, and I can just say I love it. The only thing is that I am missing is the anti-reflective screen, but the animations are so fast. It just, wow. Yeah, man, what a I'm telling you, man, that phone is just awesome. And again, the camera quality on there is pretty freaking good. It's not the best, but it'll do just fine. It's a great phone. I certainly encourage people to get it, right? Just because they're going away doesn't mean you gotta sell your OnePlus or not get a OnePlus. No, if you want to get it, I think get it, enjoy it. It's a blast to use, and it will be for years to come. Now, what is the updates they do on the new 15? I think it's 5 years. Let's see. So 5 years. Wait, the OnePlus 15 is expected to receive 4 years of major Android updates and 6 years of security patches. That phone will last you all of those 6 years. So yeah, if you have it, enjoy it. It's a blast. It's an absolute blast. Delete your account on Telegram. Okay, if you say so, I will delete it. To be fair, Pixel 10 series does better in actual games than 9 series, but 9 series does better in benchmarks. Or I'm thinking of the 8 series, but either way, they gotta care more about GPUs a bit. And look, I'm not asking them to be on Snapdragon level. I'm not asking them to be on the MediaTek Dimensity level, right? I'm not asking them to be on the Bionic A19 level. I would like to see a respectable score, right? I would like to see something that's within 20% shy of the full strength of a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, right? Like, I think that would be respectable. Something that's obviously, up there, but I'm not expecting them to meet Qualcomm or MediaTek at their performance, but it's so far down. It's way below what the industry average is, that even on paper it looks embarrassing. And again, I think it's affecting sales to some extent, but I guess but stats would say otherwise, because their market share is still growing. I just fear that this headline, if they continually, year after year, put out subpar performance, I have a fear that it will eventually catch up to them in sales. That's what I'm worried about. Right? Just continual year after year after year of just really bad. Because look, and I know benchmarks don't mean everything, right? We've all used a Pixel. It's pretty smooth. It's pretty nice. It's pretty fast. But we know that there's more to just benchmarks, right? There's more to a phone than just the testing. But the average person who is aware of benchmarks sees this, they see the headlines, and I think my fear is that they're just going to write off the Pixel. It's because I've read the comments, and I know some of y'all have too. I've read these comments last night and this morning. It's not pretty. They're getting roasted online in these comments on Reddit, underneath these articles. They're getting blasted, and I think it might catch up to them. I think it will. Now, this year, maybe not so much, but what if they do this again next year? What if they do this year after that? Like, that's where I think it's going to bite them in the ass. What the hell happened? You can still buy it. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to be off today, but we'll check it again tomorrow. Speaking of, what are they going for? Oops, I misspelled software. Yo, you can go for $648. Wow, that's a good deal right there. Now that's the 256 model, but still. Oh boy, $698. Conditions unlocked. I definitely don't want the violet. Let's go sandstorm. Let's go all storage. $721. Now that's for the 256 gig, but that'll get your foot in the door. And if you really want all the memory and the storage, $819, still a pretty good deal. What are they brand new? For the 512? $1,000. $1,000. Interesting. And then those go for 900. So if you can find one, you may want to look and see. We all have now is Poco Phone Global from Amazon, only on T-Mobile. I've never had a Poco phone, but I definitely want to get one. Man, I know. No kidding. Oh, you're talking about the new one, right? Yeah, the new one looks pretty cool. No kidding. Right. Yep. That is true. I would went for the US version of the OnePlus 15 because I don't want any risks. Yeah, I would certainly suggest that. Jimmy Fallon. Oh yeah, I remember that. It was very, very cringeworthy. That launch, and all they talked about was AI. Did you notice that they really didn't go too much into the battery tech, or they really didn't go into the processing, or dare I say the GPU, or performance. And they did a little bit on the cameras, right, which you expect them to do, but it was real goofy and kind of. It looked like a skit from one of his shows, and maybe that was the theme they were going for, but yeah, I don't know. It was kind of cringeworthy. Yeah, you would. That's what I'm guessing. So he's saying you would think from the controversy of the Pixel 10 series, GPU would make them take gaming more seriously. I guess the Pixel 12 would be the Pixel for gaming based upon the EXT GPU specs. Yeah, and look, time will tell. And I think that was you that was writing in regards to the GPU specs. Yeah, only they know why they chose that specific model of Immortal's GPU. Again, I think, my personal opinion, it has to do obviously with money, or it comes down to maybe the 5-year-old GPU, the CXT. Maybe that one was more customizable for what they want to do with it. You see what I'm saying? Maybe the newest Immortal GPU was a little bit more restrictive and they can't tweak it to their liking. I don't know, but you would think it would have to be something like that, right? I mean, I can't imagine they got blasted for the Pixel 10 performance. It's mind-boggling to me that they would want another repeat of that. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know. My bad. You know what? I switch between phones a lot, and I have like 3 or 4. I'll look into it. I certainly. I think I had. I switched my SIM card around. I switch phones a lot. It's like WhatsApp. I have WhatsApp, but I can't remember what phone I'm signed in on it to. I switch so many phones so often. It's just I need to be more proficient at making sure I'm signed into everything. Such a pain in the ass when you sign into stuff. When you sign into a new phone, oh my God, is it a hassle? And I got this going on and that going on. And I'm doing taxes. It's just, well, I was doing taxes. It's just signing in sucks. It sucks. Tech Odyssey from Motorola Fold Info. Yeah, I think I unsubscribed from Tech Odyssey, or maybe I'm still subscribed to him. I can't remember. But yeah, I know who you're talking about. Rumor has it they might be cutting back on RAM because of the RAM costs this year. One of the articles I read did say that they thought the reason why they went for this GPU is to cut costs. And I was like, I get that. And that probably has something to do with well, I take that back. I know it has something to do with other decisions when it comes to parts and suppliers when putting together a phone. It has to, right? Hopefully they just have 12 gigs. Again, this like on the 256 models of the Pros and 512s and 1 terabytes will be 16. I think from what I've heard is that they're gonna stick with the same RAM variant. So the Pixel 10s, the base models, non-pros, will have 12, and then the Pro XL, and the Pro Fold will have 16. Now we'll have to wait and see what the final product has, but you know, so many of these phone manufacturers are having the exact same discussions in these boardroom meetings. It's something they have to take in consideration. You know, Apple was one. You know, y'all know I love to troll Apple, and I will give them credit when credit is due. And this is one of those times they need to be praised. And maybe not many people know that Apple has navigated the Ramageddon. Apple has navigated the storage crisis and RAM crisis phenomenally. Absolutely. Hopefully they're gonna breeze. It looks like they're gonna breeze through this RAM shortage and storage shortage without too many scrapes, right? Or without being scathed. They negotiated when they saw this was about to pop off. What Apple did was, it needs to be like an example for a lot of these companies. Now I know they don't have a lot of the other companies don't have the purchasing power that Apple has, and that's probably what comes down to the bottom line. Apple negotiated and settled on a predetermined price on storage, on RAM, for the next, I believe it was 3 years. It's sort of like what the airlines do, how they negotiate fuel costs so they can mitigate the fluctuation in price in the short term. So they don't have to worry about, oh my God, fuel went up to 12% last night, or damn, in the last 6 months, it's doubled in price. The airlines are like, we don't care. We got a set price. It's in contract. It's in writing. Same thing Apple did with the storage. They went to their suppliers and said, hey, we want to purchase, we expect to sell, so many numbers of phones, or we need so many RAM units for this. We need so many RAM units for that. We need so many RAM units for this. And then they, year on year on year, they negotiate a final price with these RAM suppliers, with these storage suppliers, memory makers, and they get the deal signed, sealed, and delivered. So they don't have to worry about the prices going up, prices come down. Well, you signed a deal. But it's better in certain situations, especially for Apple, to have that price set in stone, set in concrete, so they don't have to worry about adjusting the price or adjusting the trade-in values to try to get more profit margin for each phone that they sell. And to be honest with you, I don't think many other companies can do that. It sounds easy. It sounds like the most logical thing to do when you think about it. But they had, as I mentioned earlier, not a lot of companies have the purchasing power that Apple has. Apple sells, millions upon hundreds of millions of phones over the next few years. So they're betting on, hopefully, the next few years, They may have to come up with a new negotiated price if the RAM shortage doesn't kind of steady out. But what they did was absolutely brilliant. I don't even think I think I maybe mentioned this once in a previous stream, but what they did negotiating prices was awesome. I mean, it probably gonna save them for as much money as they spend up front on purchasing that storage. It's probably gonna end up saving them hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in the next 3 years. Now, OnePlus can't do that, or Oppo can't do that. Nothing certainly can't do that. The only other company I can think of that could potentially do that is Samsung, but Samsung makes some of their own memory, and I don't know the breakdown of what memory they supply on their own and what memory that they purchase outside. But maybe the memory that they purchase outside of manufacturing it themselves is not that big, and they simply don't have the purchasing power that Apple does. So I think they're in a very peculiar, very situational position where they can do that, you know? So they need to be applauded for navigating this storage crisis, because that needs to be a case study in the technology business world, because that was phenomenal what they did, honestly. Yes, I did see that. I don't know how they're going to fit this in. I was thinking about that the other day. How are they going to, I don't know, maybe you could help me out, but I really haven't given it much thought. It just crossed my mind the other day. Are they going to make two devices? So like with the S27 Ultra this time next year, is Samsung going to make an EU edition with a removable battery, and then regular S27 Ultras for everybody else? What is iPhone? Oh my God. Apple is freaking pissed. Nobody messes with Apple more than the EU. They forced the Type-C connector. They're forcing some privacy, pushing some privacy stuff, which is good. They're allowing third-party app stores on iPhones, but only in Europe. And now they're forcing removable batteries. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how this is going to play out. I guess they're going to have to, or else they can't sell them there, right? I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked at the fine details. Maybe I need to do that this afternoon. Or maybe I need to, if it's available, to pull the bill up or whatever they passed. I want to actually read the fine print and see, does it have to be removable from the user? Like, can the back just pop off like old school? Or can it be removable by mechanical mechanism where it can still remain watertight? And then, I don't know, there's some, like, how you do the SIM tray ejector with the SIM pin and it pops the SIM tray out? Is there going to be another hole that you push it in and it pops the back up? Like, I guess that's up to the company, but I want to see the fine print, the details of this, to see what these companies can come up with, because it's gonna cost these not just Apple, it's everybody. It's gonna cost them time and money, because now they have to make a completely different design for each model they sell, not just phones, tablets as well, laptops, all sorts of stuff. So I know this pisses these companies off like crazy. And I'm sure, I can guarantee you, they looked at that numbers like, go find me, screw the EU. Is there any way we can not sell our phones in the EU? How much would that, how much would we take a hit on profits if we just didn't do that, compared to how much money we're going to be spending on redesigning each and every model that we sell in the EU to have a EU version where the batteries pop off, or you can take the batteries out. You see what I'm saying? They're not doing their jobs if they don't weigh those decisions. And that's what they do all day, every day, is make important decisions like this. Well, screw the EU. We're just not going to sell it there. And they're like, well, how much how much money would we lose if we cut out the EU market, compared to money they would spend on coming up with this new model. So I I don't know where this is going. Very interesting. I'm actually gonna write a note because I will forget this. I'm gonna look into that here in a little bit. I probably need to get out of here. How long have I been on? Yikes, 2 hours. Yeah, I need to go. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, removable batteries EU. I'm gonna look into that. All right, well, I gotta go. It's almost 3 hour time. I got something at 3 on the calendar. So I do appreciate the time. Please subscribe to the eSIM Studios YouTube channel. I will be covering everything Pixel moving forward. So if it feels like too much of a tall task to keep up with this, that's what I'm for. So I will keep up with this for everybody. And then I'm also gonna look into the EU battery thing because, yeah, the more I think about it, the more crazy it sounds. I want to see what these companies are going to do, because I guarantee you each and every one of them, it's crossed their mind. Maybe we just won't sell in the EU anymore. But, it's a decision each company's got to make for themselves. But let me get out of here. Appreciate the time. I so much appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Hope everybody has a fantastic day. If you want links to all the Pixel stuff we talked about, let me do this. I'm going to get out of here in a second. I'm going to go back into the stream, link everything up. So if you want links, if you want information, you're going to want to check out the Notebook LM that I created for this. It's freaking crazy. There's so much info there. Come back in about 5 minutes. After this is done, give me about 5 minutes. Come back to the stream that you're watching now. Click on the title, expand the description box, and I'll have everything linked up down there for you. So I appreciate it. Please have a safe but enjoyable rest of the day. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out.